Okie dokie, let's get started. This is the second half of graphing of 7C.4. It's for graphing secant. We already took notes on how to graph cosecant, and now I just wanted to remind you first and foremost that secant is the reciprocal to cosine. So with that being said, these two things are inverses of each other. And so if I know the cosine graph, then that's going to lead me to know what the secant graph is going to look like. Just so you have an understanding, just like it was for cosecant, the secant's asymptotes are going to be where the cosine is equal to 0. So every place that the cosine is equal to 0 is where there's going to be an asymptote. If you didn't know, it's in quartiles 1 and 3, and I'll give you an example of that in just a moment. So I'm going to do one example with you, and when I do this one example, this is pretty much what you're going to be doing for most of your graphs. One period of secant splits half of the positive u in the first and fourth quartile, and then we've basically followed the rules of 7C.4a. Here's my example. I chose number 8 from your packet to do with you. You're supposed to sketch for one period of each function. Use a lightly drawn cosine curve to help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my lightly cosine curve in a dotted green line like that. Let me show you what it should look like. It should look like something like that. And I'm going to label the critical points and so on. Here we go. First and foremost, I'm going to count by fives. This is going to be 5 units. This is going to be -5 units. That helps me. Why does it help me? Because then I know I'm going up 5 units and down 5 units. That's where the amplitude is. And this is a -5, so I automatically know, because secant is dealing with the cosine, I automatically know that my amplitude starts at the negative value down here. As I taught you a long time ago, it goes extrema, midline, extrema, midline, extrema. That's what the cosine graph would look like. Now, this is not our real graph. Our real graph for secant will be wherever the cosine is equal to 0. So I just take these x-intercepts and I draw some asymptotes like that, some boundary lines. The only thing I didn't do that I probably should have done right when I started is figure out what the period is. So I'm going to switch this over to red. The period is 2 pi divided by b. 2 pi divided by the b value here is 4 pi. There's your b. Here's your a. So that means my period must be 1 over 2 radians, or 1/2. Your fourth quartile, 1, 2, 3, 4, should be 1/2. That's one period. Half of that, my right in the middle, is 1/4. Half of that is 1/8, and 3 of those is 3/8, in case I needed to know where the asymptotes are for this particular problem. Now that I know that, this negative value meant that my cosine flipped upside down. Now I just start doing the 1/4 of a u. I go over here, draw this U-shaped part. And then the other one, the other 1/4 right there. And this is one period of the secant graph. The reason why I had you write down one period of secant splits half of the positive u in the first and fourth quartile, well, I probably should not get you confused with the positive u. This was negative, so it actually went and split the first and the last part in half. That's what it does. So if you notice that in the cosecant graph, you have two, a U up and a U down. This one actually has a U split in half so that you have still one up and one down. It's just a matter of which one starts first. Since it was negative, the negative one got split to the first and fourth quartile. I'm hoping that makes sense. I'm hoping this example guides you as you are doing your homework on that one. If you have any questions, come see me. Thanks.